Welcome to One EMS, the assessment. I am Charles McFall here at the Georgia EMS Association Providers Conference, because that's a mouthful to say every time I do one of these videos. And I'm here with Laurie Scisor, who just presented. Now, it was called Bright-Eyed and Bushy-Tailed.
Right.
And what it really was about the hero's journey and the demons that we face.
Correct.
So we're going to get into a lot of that, I think, here in this conversation. Now, we do 3, 2, 1 is the game. So 3 easy questions, 2 tougher questions, and 1 hard question of categories.
Okay.
All right. So here's the easy question. How long have you been in EMS?
Well, January of next year, which will be 2025, will be 33 years since I walked into an EMT classroom.
All right, you got me on that one. I think I'm hitting 28. I already hit 28 this year. 28. So yeah, it's and you did mention in your presentation about I can't believe I'm an old guy now, and yeah. I get it. Also, my sense of humor is like I can't believe that EMS changed your gender. You know, 'cause old guy, but,
right?
Yeah, but no, I get it. For the longest time, I was the youngest one in our company, and then when I got my paramedic, for at least 4 years, I was the baby paramedic.
Oh yes.
It took that long and now. Yeah, I got the gray hair and I've teach, and I had to think about that. It's almost 30 years I've been in the field, so
yeah.
It's getting there.
Well, you don't think of it when you're the younger one. You're like, okay, you know, I've got all this experience to pull from, and then you're just kind of the middle of the group. At some point in time, everybody's the same age, you know, and then you realize you're like, oh, we're the same age, and the kids are like, where were you on 9/11? And I'm like, I was on duty. And
I
was in kindergarten. I'm like. Yeah. Okay.
You were born in the 1900s. You shut up.
That's right.
But no, I get that. And that's the next easy question is, would you say that in EMS, energy and youth, quoted fingers youth, is a mindset and not an age range?
Energy and youth are a mindset. Absolutely. I think that's true through your life. I think in EMS we abuse our bodies as a necessity because sometimes the things are hard to get through and you don't want to eat right. You want to eat junk food because it feels better. But I do think everything's in your mind. You know, your whole world comes from your thoughts.
I dig that, and the reason I brought that up was you used the words old heads. I use the term sometimes, depending on what we're referencing, burnouts, right? You got people who are just grumpy and they just hate everything and they're gatekeepers, they don't want you around, those kind of things.
Yep.
But you've got people like us who have put in, I would never have guessed 30 years for you, honestly.
Well, thank you.
And you did say you started when you were like 18.
I was 18,
yeah. Same. You know, got in early. Young and dumb, right? We make weird choices when we're young, but it works out.
Yeah, well, you follow your bliss, right?
Yeah.
Follow what feels right. Yeah. Your gut says do it.
So that leads into the third easy question. What is your bliss in EMS? What has kept you going for 30 years going forward plus? Because you obviously are not stopping now.
No, I'm not. Well, I love people. I know that sounds so cheesy, but my whole life, I've known that I'm a caregiver. I've known that I am a cheerleader, that people deserve the truth. I don't do fake well.
Good.
And when someone's hurt or sick, doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, it doesn't matter how much is in your bank account, what brand your shoes are, it doesn't matter. You're just a person. And so I think I love people, and I still do.
I love that. Man, you brought up some trauma memories in your presentation, and you said, hey, I'm sorry about triggering, but I've dealt with a lot of it, so it's like, okay, I can remember these changes peacefully now. But the positive, very few times in my career to ever get a thank you, but what you're talking about, that being honest and being real.
Yes.
I remember specifically a call where a family member was asking if their family member is going to make it. Is it going to be okay? And I looked at them and I said, I cannot tell you it's going to be okay. I don't know if it's going to be okay, but I can tell you we're doing everything that we can, and we're going to take care of. And I think they ended up passing away.
Yes.
But I still get to thank you from the families. Like, you know, you gave us that reality, you gave us that preparation, and that's in my career experience. I want to see what yours was. Is we run from that. We hide from it. We're like, don't talk to people. Like, the family member asks somebody's going to be okay. You referenced a story about a child, and that's the one that got to you.
Yes.
Why do we hide? Why do we? Let's make that one of the medium questions. Why do we hide in the dark in EMS?
Well, first off, I have to say Brene Brown said, to be clear is kind, to be unclear is unkind. I think we fix things in EMS. We're fixers. We do our best to to fix the problem, whatever that is. And so when we can't fix it, I think it's sometimes we don't know. Most of the time, I think we do it. We're like, listen, we did everything we could. We couldn't fix it, and here we are. Well, we did everything, but so sometimes we can't face that, so we don't. So we just kind of numb out. We avoid. I'm a world-class avoider sometimes too. I get it. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you can't say sorry.
Yeah. No, I get that. I was triggered. One of the calls that changed my path, changed my life. Was a kid, and you said we're fixers. We're like human mechanics, right? It's like, oh, we found this, we diagnosed the problem. We at least know what we can or can't fix it, but we found the problem. And this call could not find, even through autopsy, could not find the problem. It was. Your mentality has to change, right? So I want to ask you that as a next hard question-ish. Is that what was it that changed your mentality from fix it, which will break us? I think I would dare say the fix it mentality burns our field out faster than the actual calls that we run. So what changed you from the fix it mentality to the participation? I don't know what to call it, but we're part of the team in the flow.
So we realize, I think, that our fix it maybe goes from the patient to the family. I still think we fix it, but we don't always fix the patient the way that we want to.
We might fix the situation.
Right. We still somehow mitigate it. So we're not gonna, the fire was burning when we got there.
Yeah.
And so what we can do is do our very best to make whatever it is that we find, however terrible it is, a little less painful. People remember things that they go through in those kind of situations, like flashbulb memories. Like, you can play the video over and over and over, and it's just like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
When you have that person come to you and say, you did everything you could for your mom. Maybe they did CPR, or they did whatever they could to help. You did everything you could for your mom. If she had any chance, you gave it to her.
Yeah.
Right? We still fix it, even if we can't bring somebody back from death.
Yeah.
Which is out of our wheelhouse for the most part anyway.
Right. A lot of EMT schools
sometimes
have. No, go ahead.
Sometimes, no. Sometimes we can do it.
Yeah. Rule number 1 is you can't save them all, basically. Rule number 2 is we try as hard as we can to fix. Rule number 1 is like, that's a losing battle. I understand where that mentality came from, but that is a losing battle.
Agreed.
But so you're great at triggering memories and stories of why we do things.
Yeah.
And I clearly remember one where the patient was like cold and dead in the bed, and happened to be 2 double medic trucks.
Yeah.
And I was youngest, newest medic, so I got shoved out of the way, and they're doing all the cool intubations and this and that. And I'm like, what else am I gonna do? And so I hear the family in there crying. And so I went in and talked to them. They're doing the standard. I don't understand. 2 days ago, it was like she had been health had declined. And 2 days ago, she was up. And I was like, I saw the religious memorabilia around the house. So like, sometimes God gives us that to have the good memory.
Yes.
And so I'm going to ask you not to go in that room, to keep the good memories, and you wait until the doctors come and get you whenever we get to the hospital.
Right.
And take your time, get your IV safe. And that's in the moment that really seemed to help them, because they latched on to the good days there.
So in the other room together, you're saying that
so they were like in the
kitchen. You just heard them and they're having their conversation.
Yeah.
I see.
And we were in the bedroom, they were in the kitchen, I could hear them crying, and so I went in to talk to them and see how I could comfort them, and that seemed to help them in the moment. Because there's nothing else I could do.
Well, they feel, and we've been through this, right? We've been on that other end where you feel absolutely, utterly helpless, right? So, and we want to do something because we've got all this energy, what can we do? But when someone comes in and they talk us through what's going on, like, we're working on your mom, but so far we don't have anything. I'll come back to you and tell you more. The old days of scoop and run and work the cardiac arrest are, out the door now, at least in our area.
Sure.
We do something called CCR. Do you know CCR, cardiocerebral resuscitation?
Oh, I thought you meant the band. Okay.
I do like Green School. But no, CCR now, for the first 6 minutes, we don't even bag you. So, it's just passive oxygenation, compressions, right, and oxygen. So it works, it's wonderful. But we've learned that you stay and you do what you're going to do on the scene, right? Because it.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of it is the jump and run doesn't work so well. We get distracted. But during that time, you have a lot of time with the family there. So you spend time, maybe there is a person, enough people to stay. Maybe someone can pop in and out. If the family wants to be there, great. Then you can see what we're doing, and I'll talk you through what's going on. That's huge.
Giving people choice.
Yeah,
and
leaving them in
agency
the dark.
moment.
Yeah. Some type of control.
Yeah.
Right, which is important.
Yes. Yeah, it takes away that helpless feeling that you got to choose one of these two choices. Neither one are great, but it's either come look or stay out.
Yes,
You
right,
know,
right.
That gives them something back.
They have a choice.
Man, it's no wonder you go and present. Yeah, you got a lot of stories to tell, and you tell it well.
Thank you.
So for the hard question,
Okay.
categories are finance, mental health, education, or I can ask you anything.
Okay. Ask me anything.
All right, I don't know what to ask because most time I have one, but this one you really come in with a lot of great information. What piece of advice would you give to yourself going through that call that changed your career in the moment?
Ooh, okay. So that call was a quadruple homicide with children on scene. The children were okay, but the parents were not. What would I say to me? Let's see. I was very early on in my career at that point. I was only about 4 years in. So I would say the fact that you can't sleep, the fact that all you want to do is just hold on to your daughter, those rough couple of days that you're going to have before you go to your critical incident stress debriefing are okay. You're okay. You haven't chosen the wrong career. You're having a normal reaction to an abnormal situation.
It's a great phrase.
Yeah, well, I can't take credit. That's the ICISF right there.
Gotcha,
right?
gotcha, yeah.
But it's true, and that has been one of that phrase right there, to know that you haven't chosen the wrong profession, that you haven't made some mistake because you're struggling with this. Is huge for people to know. Now, does that mean that for some people, EMS isn't for them? That's a fact.
Yeah.
But for those who think that because it's hard for them, because they feel it, because some people are like, oh, I'm fine. Well, you clearly, it's like you walk through a pond and you're standing there dripping and you say you're dry. We can see it all over you, right? But to know that it's normal to have that kind of a reaction is huge. So that's what I would say to myself. I would say maybe the fact that you are having a rough couple days just means that your heart is intact, that you are having a normal reaction, and it's the fact that your heart's intact that we need you. So stick with it, get help if you need to, and attend your CISD. That was huge for me. I had a great CISD. I know sometimes people have a little rougher time, but I think we're getting better. Warriors Rest Foundation will do free training for folks that want to do this. So that's been wonderful. Anyway, Missouri Department of Public Safety did that. They're training people all over our state.
And that's Warriors Rest Foundation.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because that's somebody. Because one of the questions you asked that was for us to consider was, who was it that got you through? And when you keep talking about the critical stress debriefing,
that was huge.
I sought one out because of the call that changed my career, and didn't get it. Basically, I didn't get that phrase of you're having a normal reaction to an abnormal, and because of your heart, we need you to stay.
Yes.
And my wife had to help me through, and
Thank
it was
God for our angels.
right. It was one of those, you make it through the fire, so now you can help others. And that's something we like to do at One EMS. One of our goals is to connect everybody together. If you need help, we'll get you to help.
That's
if you need
my heart
education, we'll get
too.
education.
Yes.
So we work on that. So Laurie, I appreciate you being on. I could honestly probably do an hour-long interview, so we'll get some information exchanged and do that later. But I know you've got stuff to do today. So thank you, and all of us together, we are One EMS. So that's the whole heart of what we do. So thank you for being on.
One family. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.